Towards the end of the night, about 7:50,
we had several people approach us and said that there was a fight starting.
We heard for them asking for additional cars off of the street.
I was at Colorado and Colfax, and I turned right to go head that direction.
and we see a large group of people.
Celena, Dan, and myself started to walk towards that location.
It reminded me of a tornado cloud, just people kind of moving in a half circle really slow, people walking away from the group, some people walking into the group.
While I was on the east side of the lake, I had the windows down and heard the shots.
And it was about 7 or 8, just pow, 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 and we can hear the bullets just zip over our head.
Saw Dan take cover, and I thought Celena was taking cover, and I took cover behind the car.
All I can see is just people scattering everywhere.
When I looked over my shoulder, that's when I saw Celena. She went down, and I looked over at Dan, and I said that Selena's down. I called on the radio. We had an officer down.
That's when I recall me and the other officer that I was working out, again, I believe it was Gerald Abraham. We hopped inside of the SUV and immediately drove back towards the area.
Dan and I knew what we had to do. I knew Dan had to go chase the suspect, and I had to stay with Celena.
There were just people just scattered and just screaming and running out of the area.
And I was screaming for people to get on the ground, get on the ground.
It was a lot of confusion.
I was slowly walking forward, and I had 2 women that just, even though I had my gun out, they came up and they said, "We saw who the shooter was."
He got a great description.
I got on my radio immediately, aired the description.
I remember him saying black male, black shirt, tan shorts.
Officer Gerald Abraham had pulled up in a vehicle. It was an unmarked SUV.
I get in the back seat
And immediately searched for that party.
Myself and Officer Tavon Jones and Officer Doug Grove were all running on that north side.
Gerald sped up.
The vehicle that I arrived in had drove ahead of the crowd to kind of head them off.
Officer Diaz said, "There he is."
We all kept our eye on him.
And I pull my gun out and I challenge him.
I thought evil thoughts.
We made that eye contact, and for that split second, I didn't know if he was going to run.
We pretty much had him surrounded. There was nowhere for him to go.
Thankfully, he decided to surrender.
And we apprehended the suspect.
The 2 ladies that pointed him out to me, I've never met them either. I wish I could thank them personally.
I just hope the community knows that it's a difficult job sometimes when you put on this uniform and you don't know if you're going to go home to see your kids, your mother, your father, your wife.
When you see a friend, a coworker, hurt, you almost feel like that, you want someone to call the police for you.
I still enjoy putting on this uniform and working with my brothers and sisters, and even with this tragic event, I know that Celena would want me to continue fighting the right fight, which is serving the community of Denver and the state of Colorado.